The transfer student clung to me from the moment he arrived. He was proud, sunny, and full of youthful arrogance. I tutored him, helped him climb from the bottom of the class to the top few ranks. He defended me. He would pinch my cheeks and say, "You little coward, wanna ditch class with me for some ice cream?" Until I overheard him confessing to someone else at the stairwell. He looked obedient and gentle, voice soft and pleading. "I came here for you. You hate her, don't you? I'll drag her down." That night during evening study hall, I did 7 mock exams in a row. Everyone was shaken by my intensity. Chapter 1. In senior year, all of my science notes were thrown into the school's pond. Elias didn't hesitate. He jumped right into the muddy water. Soon, he held up the dripping notebook high in the air, wearing that bright, dazzling smile as he looked at me. "Amelia, I found your notes." I looked down at the ink-smudged, dirt-stained notebook. Thanks. I murmured. I'd been a natural stutterer all my life. My words always came out broken. "Buy me some ice cream after school as thanks." "Yeah." He grinned wide, tiger tooth showing playfully. Students standing around began to tease. "No." I declined. My physics teacher was giving me extra lessons after school. I didn't want to waste any study time. As soon as I refused, Elias's smile fell. He looked like a disappointed puppy. "Aw. I see. Then I won't bother you." His amber eyes shimmered with regret. Immediately, one of his classmates spoke up. "Seriously? He fished your notebook out of that nasty water and you won't even buy him ice cream?" I looked at Elias, standing tall in front of me, still smiling and joking with the others. "Don't say that about Amelia, she's busy," he said gently. If I hadn't known Elias's true nature, I really might have believed he was my savior, my knight in shining armor. I still remembered what I saw yesterday. At the stairwell corner, he was kneeling, tying a girl's shoelaces. The sunlight gilded his face in golden light. He, usually so proud, now looked soft and careful. I stood against the wall, covering my mouth, and I heard him clearly. "You really hate Amelia, don't you? Just wait. I'll make her grades drop. Don't worry, I'd never fall for her. I came for you, Camila." Chapter 2. Before I met Elias, I don't think anyone really noticed me. Ever since my mother remarried, she seemed like a different person. It was as if she stopped being my mom and became the mom of the daughter my stepfather brought with him. At the dinner table, she'd go on and on praising Camila. "Camila, eat more. These chicken wings are your favorite." She picked out all the wings from the dish and gave them to my so-called sister. Camila glanced at me coldly, her tone indifferent. "No thanks, I'm on a diet." I looked up at my mother. Her smile looked awkward. Right. You're so beautiful, Camila. You don't want to gain weight." Then my mother noticed me watching her. Her face flushed red, and she snapped at me angrily. "Camila's not like you, always stuffing your face like a pig." I lowered my head and said nothing. I've always stuttered. Long sentences make it worse. I didn't want to explain. I just buried my face in my rice. Only, today the rice tasted a little salty. I didn't even eat that much. Yet my body felt like an overinflated balloon, bloated, covered in acne. I once asked to go to the doctor, but my mom twisted my ear and scolded me. "Just some stupid teenage pimples. You always make a fuss. We don't have money for pointless checkups. You never think about saving money for mom." But Camila's dance classes? 300 yuan per lesson. Never missed a single one. My stepfather didn't like me either, but he maintained a polite facade. My swollen body only made Camila look even more slender and beautiful. I carried a bitterness inside me. I couldn't believe I was inferior to her in every way. So I studied like crazy. Eventually, I made it into the top 50 of the entire school, far better than Camila, who was just average. But when I got home, my shoulders aching under the weight of a 5-kilo backpack, I passed a luxury accessories store on the way, and I saw them, my mother and stepfather, picking out pearl hair clips for Camila. Camila was holding a box of ice cream, lazily licking it. My mom stood behind her on tiptoe, helping her try on hairpins as if she were a princess. I clenched the straps of my bag. I stood there, surrounded by the crowd, watching them. The backpack felt heavier than ever, weighing me down so much I could hardly move forward. I saw the DQ logo on Camila's ice cream, and I remembered just days ago, when I asked Mom for money for school supplies, she'd thrown 5 yuan at me. With that, I bought a Scantron pen, an eraser, and one black ink pen. That was all. The teacher's voice still echoed in my head. Red pen for corrections. Red pen. Amelia, tell your mom to buy you one. Chapter 3. Elias was a transfer student. From the day he arrived, he latched onto me. Even before the teacher assigned him a seat, he sat right in front of me. Teacher, I'll sit here. Then he turned and said, Hi, I'm Elias. Can I borrow a pen? I was the chubby, invisible girl in class. This was the first time a boy had ever spoken to me voluntarily. My heart tensed up instantly, and I felt a strange shame rise in me. Please don't mock me. Please don't laugh. That reaction is what happens when someone timid and overlooked for too long is met with sudden kindness. I fumbled through my bag, panicked. All I found were chipped, imperfect pens, most of which I had picked up while cleaning the classroom. I had no allowance. Most of my supplies came from school rewards or the floor. Finally, I dug out a black retractable pen, the kind with heavy ink flow. I only used it for writing English essays. I handed it to Elias. He accepted it and casually tossed me a Ferrero Rocher. Thanks. That's for you. That golden-wrapped chocolate threw me into a mini crisis. I didn't know what to do. In 2015, Ferrero felt like luxury candy. I had never tasted one. I carefully tucked it into my desk drawer, intending to return it later, when the bell rang, and he stood up. I summoned my courage and called his name. Elias. HM? What's up? He turned around. He was tall, and he'd climbed up on his chair. I had to tilt my head to see him. He had a faint smile on his lips. In his eyes was the reflection of a chubby, blushing version of me. Why you don't have to. Damn it, I stuttered again. He chuckled. A sudden gust of wind blew in through the window. The blue curtains billowed like sails. Our classmates' test papers flapped like the wings of startled doves. One sheet floated right across his face, blocking half of it. He smiled at me, and he said, So you're a little stutterer, huh? That's kind of cute. Chapter 4. In high school, students were naturally wary of transfer students, but Elias? He blended in instantly. He was cheerful, tall, and handsome, and the teachers treated him with obvious politeness. High schoolers have an instinctive reverence for students from wealthy or powerful families. That's how Elias smoothly integrated into our class. During breaks, boys would invite him to play basketball. Girls would help him with class schedules. Everyone wanted to get close to Elias. Even though I sat right next to him, I didn't dare say a word. But Elias often took the initiative. When he forgot his textbook, he would drag a chair over to sit beside me. He'd casually turn and ask to borrow my homework. Bit by bit, we became familiar, but he only talked to me during class. As soon as the bell rang, he'd vanish. I didn't have close friends, so I spent breaks solving physics problems alone at my desk. One afternoon, Joel came over holding his physics worksheet. Joel was our class rep, tall, gentle-looking, always wearing round glasses and a middle part. The boys called him teacher's pet. He was soft-spoken, so other boys didn't include him. Like me, he was on the edges of the classroom social circle. Joel plopped down in Elias's seat and leaned in, touching foreheads with me as he explained a problem. We kept working, inching closer to the answer. When we locked eyes and smiled, I felt a rare moment of connection. But then, laughter broke the moment. Some bored boys gathered around to tease. What are you two doing? Huh? Couple stuff. Obviously. The moment those words left their mouth, Joel jumped up like a cat whose tail got stepped on. He shoved the worksheet off our desk. It tore in two, the paper ripping with a loud shrip. Joel's face turned beet red, but I knew it wasn't embarrassment. It was shame. Shame for being teased as a couple with the fat girl. We didn't even solve the problem. Joel stood up and shouted, What are you talking about? I'd never like Amelia. Another boy chimed in, grinning. Yeah, I mean, Amelia's so fat. Laughter filled my ears, along with Joel's anxious, desperate denial. I gripped my pen tightly, not saying a word. My face was calm, but inside, I could feel something collapsing. the fragile structure called self-esteem crumbling into dust. Dust and smoke rose from the wreckage in my chest. I didn't cry. Fat girls don't earn sympathy when they cry. They only make themselves more pathetic. So I just lowered my head, lower and lower. Chapter 5. So what if she's fat? That just means she's eating well. Elias's deep, slightly raspy voice rang out. He had returned without anyone noticing, standing beside me, tall and imposing, since he hadn't received a school uniform yet. He wore a black crewneck t-shirt. A silver necklace dangled from his neck, making him look even more aloof and rebellious. On his finger, he spun a tiny keychain. A small white bunny dangled from it. He tossed the bunny onto my desk, as if to comfort me. Then he reached out and grabbed Joel by the collar. He half joked, half serious. Move. Don't waste Amelia's time. I need her to explain this question to me. The teasing boys continued. What's this, Elias? Is Amelia yours or something? Elias gave a lazy glance in their direction. His lips curled into a casual smile, but his voice was firm, steady. Yeah, she's mine. Got a problem? The blunt honesty left the boys stunned. Amelia, explain this one to me. Elias pushed Joel, who was red-faced, out of the way, holding up his physics book, open to the frame of reference chapter. Joel's face turned pale, then flushed red again, but because it was Elias, he didn't dare say a word. He just gripped his worksheet, knuckles turning white, veins bulging. The chapter was pretty basic, but I still carefully explained it to Elias. As I spoke, I gradually realized something felt off. I glanced up and met his eyes. He wasn't looking at the question. He was watching me, hand on his chin, his expression calm and curious. Downturned eyes, dark like obsidian marbles. I panicked. Elias wasn't like other boys in this class. I'd been mocked, called names like Piggy, punished to stand in class, only for boys behind me to complain I was blocking their view. Whenever there were chores, taking out the trash, scrubbing the sinks, people instinctively chose me, because I was fat and plain. I didn't deserve to say no. One time I tried to object while moving stacks of books. I don't think I can carry 2 classes worth of materials. I was met with annoyance. You're fat. You're strong. Stop whining. But Elias was different. He was the only one who treated me like a girl, a regular high school girl, with a fragile pride that had been ignored for far too long. And in that moment, he saw it and protected it. Chapter 6. I was sure I had feelings for Elias, but I didn't dare call it love. What Joel did had taught me. My liking someone might make them embarrassed, even angry. I didn't want to hurt Elias, so I would never, ever say it out loud. It was strange, though. I always felt like I had to do something for the person I liked. So when Elias asked me to tutor him, I didn't hesitate, even if it cost me time. Back then, Elias asked me for help every day after school. If you're on a moving boat and see the mountains on the riverbank sliding backwards, what's your frame of reference? Why would I be on a boat? Elias blinked and smiled at me. It's just hypothetical. Answer, what's the frame of reference? I don't even know what that means. We literally had physics class last period. The teacher reviewed this exact type of question. I forgot, he said, all innocent and smiling. Chapter 7. Even though I had a bit of a crush on him, sometimes Elias was so dumb. I couldn't stand it. Whenever I was about to lose my patience and call off the tutoring, he'd grab the hem of my school uniform, eyes big and watery, and beg, please? If I fail, my dad will kill me. I'd sigh, pick up my pen, and continue explaining. And through tutoring, we somehow grew closer. After school, Elias would tug on my ponytail and grin. Hey, little coward, let's go get DQ ice cream. I should stay and clean. I also want to do some extra problems. I hesitated. Come on. Come on. I heard the ice cream there doesn't even fall when you flip it upside down. If you don't come, it means you hate me. He'd lean in close, eyes glowing, and I'd nod yes. Because if you like someone, and you do nothing about it, then maybe you don't like them enough. I was willing to pay the price of liking someone, so I organized my notes. I explained problems again and again. In the hot, dry summer, he'd furrow his brows at questions he couldn't understand. I'd fan him with a clear clipboard while he tried to work through them. Even though I knew I was just touching my own heart, I still wanted to make things easier for him. I spent so much time and energy tutoring him. It was like reteaching him all of math and science from scratch. Eventually, his grades improved, from the bottom of the class to the top 20. Of course, I can't deny his hard work. Elias was clumsy, but diligent, and I admire hard workers. My feelings for him grew even more. But then, my own grades started slipping. Chapter 8. Dinner after the monthly exams was always my favorite time. That was when Mom seemed to love me a little more. She'd proudly talk about my grades, because that was the one thing I was better at than Camila. Just like before, Mom picked out the chicken drumstick, normally never mine, and placed it into my bowl. "So, how'd you do this time?" she asked casually, trying not to seem eager. I lowered my head, a little ashamed, and hadn't answered yet when Camila chimed in sweetly. "I heard little sister dropped fast this time. She's all the way down to 15th place in class now." As soon as Camila said that, my stepfather chuckled. "Grades don't matter that much. Just don't go off the rails." Mom's face turned from flushed red to stone cold. Camila kept smiling as she added, "Lately, I've seen her hanging out with some boy." "Oh, that's something to watch out for." My stepfather looked at me gently. "Amelia, you're too young to date." Clang. Mom slammed her bowl down hard. She wanted to explode, but held back, didn't want to ruin Camila's appetite. The table was thick with awkward tension. Only my stepfather kept piling food into Camila's plate. I picked up the drumstick, just wanting to eat fast and escape, but Mom snatched it away with her chopsticks. "Eat, eat, eat. What makes you think you deserve to eat that?" she snapped viciously. I was scared of my mom, so I lowered my head and ate the plain vegetables in front of me. After dinner, she called me into her room. As soon as I stepped inside, a ceramic ornament came flying and hit me right in the head. Accusations rained down on me like a storm. "You worthless brat. How did your grades drop like this? Are you dating someone?" Her eyes burned with anger, and something like hate. She hated that I was fat, ugly, that I couldn't please my stepfather, that I was dead weight, dragging her down. I looked at my mother's bony frame, and asked, "Mom, am I not your daughter? You can't compare to Camila in anything. You shame me." "But Mom, you were the one who insisted on getting custody of me." "What else?" "For the child support money from your dad." She said it without flinching, cold, calculated. That moment, I felt our bond as mother and daughter shatter. I laughed. "What are you laughing at? You dare laugh? You little slut. Who've you been hanging out with? Huh? You really think anyone would like you? You fat pig." My laugh had enraged her. The woman in front of me, before the divorce, she clung to my biological father, gambling, eating, drinking. After the divorce, she never got a job. Still gambling, still drinking. Only difference? She learned to fawn over Camila and my stepfather. She had no power in this house, so she vented on me. She needed someone weaker than her to hurt. The weak always cut down the weaker. Warm blood trickled down my forehead, like a small fish slipping across my skin. The fish vanished into dust, and I no longer hoped for her love. I had to accept it now. Not all parents love their children. "I'll improve my grades." I looked at her and smiled. MS. Monica. Chapter 9. To get my grades back on track, I decided to talk honestly with Elias. "Elias, my grades have dropped." I told him sincerely. His eyes flickered. A brief shadow passed over his face, but it disappeared almost instantly. He still wore that lazy, carefree smile. "Oh, come on. It's fine. So you got 50 points lower than last time. Probably just a bad test day. You'll catch up next time." But that wasn't it. I was sure it wasn't just a bad day. It was because I'd been studying less. All those DQ runs, late-night tutoring sessions, shooting pool, explaining easy questions anyone could do. They had eaten up so much of my time. And now, I had already gone through all the topics with him. I figured, I had done more than enough to express my affection. If liking someone started to disrupt my life, then I needed to cut my losses. I shook my head and said, I don't want to tutor you anymore. I saw it. His gaze darkened instantly, like the sky suddenly swallowed by storm clouds. Then he exploded. He slammed the desk in front of me hard. You promised me. You said you would. And now you're backing out. I can't believe you're blaming me for your bad grades. That's seriously messed up. Some friend you are. I totally misjudged you. The more he spoke, the more aggrieved he sounded. Then he straightened up and stormed out of the room. I stood there, blinking. What? I was genuinely confused. I'd played the role of friend flawlessly. If this were a test, I'd give myself a solid 100. After all, while everyone else guarded their notes and worried about being outscored, I had explained the entire math and science curriculum to him. So why was Elias angry? I didn't get it, and since I didn't understand his emotions, I decided I had every right to be mad. 2. Chapter 10. That anger I'd felt soon turned into suspicion. Every night after study hall, I had to walk home along a pitch-dark street. The street lights had been broken for years. I'd called about it, no one ever came to fix them, though the road was always in darkness. I'd been walking it for years. Nothing bad had ever happened. I'd told my parents I felt unsafe, that I was scared, but all I got in return was my mom's laughter. With how you look, you're plenty safe. What are you scared of? My stepdad glanced at Camila, graceful as always, then said, Camila, want me to start picking you up? I could grab your sister too. Camila pouted. If you do that, I won't want to stay for study hall anymore. And just like that, Camila never went to night study again. No one ever came for me, so I just kept walking that dark street alone, gripping the straps of my backpack. It had always been fine, but tonight, someone blocked my path. A boy around my age, not wearing a uniform, but carrying a school bag. I made a snap judgment, some delinquent from a nearby school. Tall and skinny, buzz cut. He yanked my collar. Spare some cash, will ya? I have money. I have money, I blurted. I quickly pulled out my only 5 yuan, wrinkled and worn. I held it out like a humble offering. Buzz-cut boy stared at the crumpled bill in my palm. Suddenly he snapped. You messing with me? What the hell can I do with 5? That's all I have. I tried to explain, to seem more sincere. I looked him straight in the eyes, tried to appear extra honest and pitiful. Fat bitch. He grabbed the bill and kicked me hard. It didn't hurt that much, but my bag was heavy, and I lost balance, fell flat onto the ground. I looked at the circle of delinquents surrounding me. How do I get out of this? Would they beat me? A beating was one thing, but if they injured me, I couldn't go to school. I debated whether I should drop to my knees and beg. And then, a tall figure stepped into view. He sliced through the dark like a blade. Sharp, blazing, head raised, eyes flickering like firelight in fog. Amelia. She's under my protection, got it? His chin lifted, drawing a smooth arc in the air. Did he just say that? How dramatic, so cringe. He sounded like he walked out of a teen manga. I was already preparing to get beaten together with him. Elias probably had money. Maybe I could talk him into paying them off. But to my surprise, Buzz-cut guy's face changed. He looked afraid. Under my confused gaze, he muttered, You two, just wait. And then turned tail and ran, his buddies scrambling after him. My suspicion only deepened. Sure, Elias was popular, but could he really scare off a whole group by himself? I shoved my doubts down, looked up. Elias wore that familiar bright smile, his little tiger teeth poking out, eyes sparkling like always. Amelia, they didn't hurt you, did they? I shook my head and slowly got up. He didn't help me, just looked down at me and asked, So, I saved you. How are you gonna repay your big bro? Then he grinned, lips curving up, and said, word by word, keep tutoring me, deal? Chapter 11. Of course, I didn't agree. Right now, my only focus was raising my grades. I started reviewing the whole relationship I had with Elias. He was the one who came to me first. asked me to tutor him, and if during tutoring I accidentally touched his hand, he'd immediately pull away, awkward and stiff. Every time I wanted to go to night study, he'd come up with some excuse to stop me. Cleaning duty, computer lab maintenance, all sorts of ways to keep me from class. The more I thought about it, the more suspicious I became. I started to suspect Elias was actually sent by Joel to drag my grades down. After all, Elias was a transfer student. We had zero connection before, and Joel had always been stuck one spot behind me in the rankings. I still remembered how eager he always seemed to surpass me. The second person I suspected was Camila. At first I didn't really suspect her. She was better than me at everything. But after going through everything again, I noticed something. Camila had seemed really happy when my grades dropped. So I came up with a plan to test them. 2 bait lines, 2 targets. For Camila, I casually mentioned, my birthday's coming up. Too bad I don't really have any close friends. I'd really love to get a nice pencil case. For Joel, I said, my birthday's soon. Too bad I don't have any good friends. I'd love to get a set of 5 years of Gaokao, 3 years of mock exams. Then I watched them closely. Every day, I observed Joel. We accidentally locked eyes several times. His guilty, dodgy look made me even more alert. Until one day, after school, Joel finally stopped me. The boy, tall and thin, face still delicate, lowered his head slightly, cheeks red like dusk. Amelia, I'm not planning to date in high school. Huh? Seeing my confused face, he pushed up his glasses and said, you keep looking at me. Don't you like me? No, you misunderstood. I still remembered how violently he had rejected me last time, just from other people teasing him. His logic didn't make sense. No wonder he couldn't beat me in tests. I turned to leave, but Joel seemed to come to a decision. He rushed up and grabbed my wrist. Only then did I notice. He wasn't wearing glasses today. Without them, he looked delicate, soft like a young tree. His eyes held a misty glaze. His pale face was now flushed, like a burning rose. Amelia, you're a really good person. A really amazing person. Actually, I do like you. You said your birthday was coming up, right? I got you a gift, 5 years of Gaokao, 3 years of mock exams. As he spoke, he opened his 5-kilo school bag and pulled out a huge practice book set. To be honest, I didn't have the best impression of Joel, but being praised so sincerely felt really nice. And he gave me a gift. At that moment, I completely ruled him out as a suspect. But just to be safe, I'd rather betray the world than let the world betray me. Joel, if you're trying to date me, I'll have to report you to the teacher. Joel's blushing face instantly turned pale. He looked at me like I'd broken his heart. But, I added, your Chinese is good. If you're willing to tutor me in that, I won't tell. I crossed my arms. And in return, I'll help you with physics. But only occasionally. You cannot take up too much of my time. I was weak in a few subjects. To claw my way back into the top rankings, I had to focus hard. Joel agreed. Chapter 12. But Elias stopped me. He pulled out a beautifully wrapped pencil case. Inside was a full set of gel pens and colorful highlighters. He grinned at me, eyes curved like crescent moons. Your birthday gift. Do you like it? I smiled slightly, my voice clear and bright. I do. Gotcha. The bad guy has been caught. I didn't know how Camila knew Elias, but that no longer mattered. Stay away from people who mess up your life. I took the initiative and asked the teacher to change my seat. Now I sat next to Joel. Finally, I was away from Elias and could study in peace. Elias seemed a little confused by my sudden distance. After class, he came over to my new seat, like he was joking. Hey, little coward, can you even see the board from here? Want me to talk to the teacher for you? He knew he was a campus celebrity. Whenever he talked to me, others would laugh or whisper behind our backs. I frowned and coldly said to the tall boy in front of me, you're blocking my view of the board. His body froze. His pupils narrowed instantly. He licked his lips, like trying to swallow down some unknown emotion. Joel, sitting beside me, quickly pushed his math book in front of me. Copy mine. I took full notes in class. Elias's gaze grew darker. He half joked, half serious. Didn't you say you hated Amelia? You overreacted so much last time. What? Suddenly realized how great she is? Joel adjusted his glasses, looked Elias in the eye, and replied steadily, I don't like being teased by others. But what's wrong with studying together? I like studying. Elias was shut down. He didn't seem angry though, still wearing that usual amused smile. But I noticed. His fists, under the sleeves of his uniform, were tightly clenched. After school, I was assigned to stay behind for classroom duties. As group leader, I had to turn off the lights and shut down the multimedia. When everyone else had left, I was packing up my bag. Suddenly, someone tugged gently on my backpack strap. I looked up and found Elias's handsome face inches from mine. Amelia, why've you been ignoring me lately? His face, usually wild and arrogant like a stray dog, was now forcefully wearing a cheerful grin. It looked awkward, out of place. Huh? I haven't ignored you. I'm just focusing on studying, I replied casually. Then why won't you go to the pool hall with me anymore? Or tutor me? I don't want to. So what? So you don't want to be friends anymore? You never hang out with me. His tone rose at the end, almost like he was sulking. If that's how you want to see it, I can't stop you. I shrugged and raised both hands, looking innocent. Chapter 13. Maybe I rejected him a bit too harshly. Turns out, Elias has a temper too. He went into full Cold War mode with me. The funniest part? I was his group leader, and he refused to turn in homework. When I walked over to his desk to collect the assignments, he clearly saw me, but just lazily lifted his amber-colored eyes and looked around the room. Turn in your math homework. Elias pretended not to hear, started chatting with the people around him instead. Whatever. Let him be. He wants to fail? Not my problem. I skipped him and handed in the stack without his. He purposely avoided speaking to me, even during mandatory group discussions. He kept his head down and stayed silent. Group projects? He didn't say a word, just stood there, hands in pockets, acting cool. I ignored all of it. When Elias realized that his Cold War was exactly what I wanted, he switched tactics again and came back to cling to me. Honestly, I admired his adaptability. How much did Camila offer him? And then one day, I found out, after school, I'd forgotten my water bottle and ran back to get it. On the stairwell landing, I finally got my answer. Camila was leaning against the railing, her dainty face lit with a casual smile. And Elias, that arrogant, untouchable boy, was kneeling at her feet, tying her shoelaces with devotion. The sunlight glazed her cheeks in a soft golden glow. She looked like Elias's goddess, and he, her most loyal worshipper. He lifted his head, voice gentle and trembling. Don't abandon me. I'll pull Amelia down. I'm here for you. I slapped a hand over my mouth, pressed my back tight against the wall. I didn't dare make a sound. Then I heard Camila's lazy, airy voice. For the physics Olympiad coming up, don't let her attend. I promise. Their voices faded down the hall. The sweat on my body had already dried in the breeze. My school uniform clung to my back, as if I had just finished some grueling race. I slid down the wall, sitting on the floor. I had expected this outcome. I knew it deep down. But still, there was a faint, stinging sadness. All those memories I cherished. The sweet, silent sacrifices. The moments I kept replaying in my heart like secret treasures. They were nothing but honey drape on the tail of a venomous snake. I looked up, eyes landing on the wide expanse of glowing clouds outside the window, shaped like orange peels, hazy and dazzling. A girl's dream doesn't need some prince falling from the sky. From now on, my dreams will be held tightly in the palm of my own hand. Chapter 14. After I realized Elias might sabotage my physics competition, I became even more vigilant. I even started carrying my water bottle with me at all times. But despite all my caution, the night before the physics Olympiad, after evening study, I was still ambushed in that dark alley. I looked up, staring straight into Elias's eyes. He had completely shed his cheerful facade. Gone was the sunny, boyish charm. What remained was arrogance and cold indifference in those inky black eyes. His uniform jacket was tied around his waist. Beneath the once neat school shirt, he wore a sleeveless black vest. His arms were lean and angular. He looked exactly like a thug. That goofy puppy grin? Nowhere to be seen. His expression looked cruel under the streetlight. Amelia, just be good, okay? Come with me, just one night. I promise nothing will happen. I have the physics competition tomorrow. I said each word slowly, looking him straight in the eye. I know, I don't want you to go. He flicked away his cigarette. His voice was cold and flat. This is important to me, Elias. Please, for the sake of everything I once did for you, let me go. I'll even give you all the prize money if I win. His fingers idly toyed with the silver skull pendant hanging from his neck. I kept watching his face. His eyes looked distant, conflicted. But then, as if making a decision, he grabbed my backpack strap. His voice dropped to a whisper. Just one night. Sorry, Amelia. You can still take the college entrance exam, even if you screw that up. I'll take responsibility. As he said that, he actually smiled, like a burden had been lifted. Then, his hands reached out to cut my face. That was the last straw. Who the hell wants your responsibility? Are you insane? Get away from me! Realizing he wouldn't back down, I lost it. Just as I raised my leg to kick him where it hurts, his gang closed in. A cloth covered my mouth and nose. My last conscious thought was the stinging scent of ether. Chapter 15, Elias's POV. I locked Amelia in my family's villa. It's comfortable here. There's a bed, air conditioning, a fridge stocked with drinks and fruit, a glass cabinet full of snacks, even shelves filled with the sci-fi novels she likes. There's even a switch. It's only for one day. She just needs to miss the Olympiad. This is the last thing I'll ever do for Camila. I met Camila in the heat of a middle school summer. Back then, I had decided to end my life. The reason was simple. Both my parents were cheating. I witnessed my father flirting with another woman, and my mother climbing into bed with another man. Yet at the dinner table, they still acted loving. Father even gave mother a goodnight kiss. And seeing her fake, bashful smile, I couldn't help but wonder, are people really this fake? This filthy? That summer, they were too busy with their lovers to notice me, so I started acting out, smoking, street racing, getting into fights, just to get their attention. I saw the disgust in my teacher's eyes. I heard the whispers. He's just rotten. If his family wasn't rich, he'd be in juvenile detention by now. But no one could touch me. I was underage, and my dad had connections. Just the same, no one cared, no matter what I did. They didn't look at me. That was when I made a lot of bad friends, and picked up all the wrong habits. I couldn't quit. When the cravings hit, I smashed every piece of glass in the house. That finally got their attention. And then, they gave up on me. They said it wasn't too late yet. So they ended their loveless business marriage. And then, they abandoned their troubled son. I was locked up in a facility, forced into treatment. I went through 18 rounds of electroshock therapy, in that elite hospital that charged 30,000 yen a month. Electroshock was considered the fastest and most effective method. The moment the current passed from my skull through my body, only one thought remained in my mind. I want to die. Just when I had decided to die, I met Camila. When she learned about my plan to end it all, she asked me a bizarre question. Do you have money? If you're going to die, and can't take it with you, can you donate it to me? I thought she was greedy as hell. I couldn't help but curse at her, but she didn't even get mad, like she was used to being cursed at. She said, well, if you die without spending all your money, it'd be such a waste. Oddly enough, her nonsense distracted me from the thought of slitting my wrists. We ended up chatting for a long time that day. She told me, I'm sneaking messages. My mom's super strict. And I replied, generous as hell. Then I'll donate you a phone first. Back then, Android didn't exist yet. Phones were just simple little flip phones. She loved it. Showed me how she decorated it with stickers of Ollie, that little red fox. She called herself Ollie. And me? Peach. Honestly, I didn't get it. I didn't even know what was cute about that red fox, with his underwear on the outside. But Camila adored him. I'll always remember those days. I was locked at home, with a rotating stream of tutors teaching me piano, art, etiquette, whatever. But I wasn't allowed to go outside. I was completely alone. Only she would talk to me, and it felt like we could talk forever. Sometimes I'd act cool and purposely ignore her messages. She'd just keep sending me Ollie stickers, apologizing, bowing, again and again. I got curious. I wanted to know who she really was. I asked her to send me a picture, but she was strangely rational. Let's stay anonymous. Only that way can we be our true selves with each other. Photos create illusions, fantasies. Then our conversations wouldn't be honest anymore. Then one day, in high school, she vanished. Ollie's avatar never lit up again. After rehab, I behaved well. I earned the right to go back to school. And I waited for her to come back. Waited and waited, until one day, her avatar blinked on again, and I couldn't hold back. I messaged her instantly. I can go outside now. Want that inheritance you always joked about? I've got money. What's your name? I even sent her the most handsome photo of myself. Just to please her. She paused. Then I saw it. The text appeared, black and clear on the screen. My name is Camila. Chapter 16. Camila told me she hated her stepsister, Amelia. She said Amelia was fat and ugly, but somehow still managed to outperform her academically. She didn't want to be beaten by someone like that. Camila tugged at my sleeve, her eyes soft and pleading. Can I ask you a favor? Of course. I agreed. I approached Amelia with a purpose. She was a bit overweight, plain looking, with a few pimples on her forehead. Honestly, she was the kind of girl you could pass on the street without ever noticing. She was also poor. I'd observed her. She seemed to own only one jacket. Her school uniform. Her shoes were old and worn, the soles uneven between the left and right. I thought, someone like her could never compare to tall, beautiful Camila. So why was Camila even bothered by her? The idea of getting close to her made me feel a little disgusted. But for Camila, I swallowed that revulsion and smiled. My name is Elias. I saw a flicker of surprise and shyness in Amelia's eyes. Girls like her rarely got attention. I knew that if I showed just a bit of kindness, she'd fall for me. Then she'd do whatever I said. But as I spent time with her, something strange happened. I started to be moved by her personality. She was strong, full of life, but most of all, she was resolute. I've always been someone with weak willpower. That's why I got pulled into bad circles, made bad friends. But she had conviction. After Joel embarrassed her, she never spoke to him again. I saw Joel try to get back on her good side more than once, offering to help her decorate the class bulletin board, reaching to carry her notebooks. But Amelia ignored him every time. Honestly, her determination reminded me a little of my Ollie. When that thought crept in, I immediately pushed it away. There's no way my Ollie would look like this, so ordinary, so chubby, like a walking tire. My Ollie had to be Camila. Back then, I still judged people by appearances, and that's why I lost the most precious thing. My plan was moving forward, but Amelia was slowly pulling away from me. That left me frustrated, disappointed, maybe even sad. But I didn't dare admit it. There's no way I was sad over someone who looked like a Michelin man. She was fat and plain. How could I possibly like her? No, I absolutely refused to admit it. So I agreed to destroy her Olympiad. I drugged her and laid her on the bed. Her chubby little face was so ordinary, so plain, and yet, for some reason, I found it kind of cute. I must have been going insane. I adjusted the air conditioner to the most comfortable temperature and tucked the blanket around her. Before leaving, I looked at her sleeping face. It's okay, Amelia. I promise, this will be the last time I hurt you. I've repaid all the kindness Camila once showed me. Amelia, will you forgive me? I know you're incredibly strong-willed, but I have a lifetime to earn your forgiveness. I'm not like that traitor Joel. Amelia, I couldn't resist. I turned back, bent down, and gently pinched her soft, round cheek. Forgive me. I have an entire lifetime to make it up to you. Chapter 17. I brought camellias, Ali's favorite flower, to Camila. She was in the middle of a dance performance, but in that sea of dancers, she wasn't special at all. She didn't even get center stage. She made a lot of mistakes. Her eyes kept darting around, avoiding the audience. It suddenly made me think of Amelia. Amelia wasn't dazzling. She didn't even know how to dance. During class activities, she always stood at the back. At the choir competition, she was the only girl standing among the boys. Yet she never seemed shy. She wasn't awkward or flustered. Her gaze was clear, her expression determined. She completed the performance seriously. When the dance was over, I walked up to Camila with a bouquet of camellias in hand. I'd hidden a bank card in the flowers, 100,000 yuan, all my savings. I wanted to thank her for everything she'd once done for me, but tell her I couldn't keep hurting Amelia. As I approached, Camila's brows furrowed sharply. Her beautiful almond-shaped eyes flashed with disgust as she took several steps back. Voice laced with irritation. I'm allergic to flowers. For a second, I didn't react. I asked instinctively, didn't you say camellias were your favorite? The moment those words left my mouth, it was like an arrow shot straight into my heart. Like lying in an electric chair and feeling that first jolt, I began to tremble uncontrollably. The bouquet of camellias slipped from my hands and hit the floor. Suddenly, I remembered walking beside Amelia under the blooming camellia trees. She had said, I love camellias. And back then, I'd scoffed when one bright red flower had fallen perfectly to the ground. I didn't even bother to pick it up for her. I'd even thought to myself, do you even deserve to like flowers? You Michelin girl? Flowers belong in a princess's arms. My chest tightened. I left Camila behind and ran, like I was going mad, all the way home. The sky had gone dark, clouds rolled above, and the air was thick with the scent of rain. By the time I reached my villa, I couldn't stop myself from laughing. Raindrops, the size of soybeans, slammed against the ground. The second-floor window of the villa had already been smashed. Shards of glistening glass were scattered across the garden soil, stained faintly with blood. I knew it. Amelia wouldn't go down that easily. She was the kind of person with such unwavering will, she'd rather jump from the second floor than give up her Olympiad. Did the broken glass cut into her palm? Did she twist her ankle when she landed? Did it hurt? Was she scared? What was she thinking in that moment she leapt out the window? Will she ever forgive me? Terror, pain, guilt, worry, despair, every emotion came crashing down on my chest like a sledgehammer. I knelt down and clenched the shattered glass in my fist. I was smiling. I was genuinely glad she escaped. But I also wanted to cry so badly. I knew then, this ending couldn't be salvaged. When the blood began seeping between my fingers, I knew exactly where I needed to go. I would go turn myself in. For illegally imprisoning another person, I was willing to face the consequences of my actions. When I arrived at the police station, I saw my Ali was already there. She held a voice recorder in her hand, her voice clear and composed. Officer, this is the man who illegally held me. I have all the evidence here. My Ali was always so clever. From the moment she began to suspect me, she'd been carrying that recorder in her bag. She had let the world see me for who I really was. The officer looked at me. Amelia looked at me too. Her gaze was still clear, and I couldn't hold back my tears. I plead guilty. I heard my own voice crack with a sob. Forgive me, Ali. Chapter 18 Amelia's POV. Elias didn't keep me locked up for more than 24 hours. So technically, he didn't commit a criminal offense. Of course, he didn't get off easy either. He spent 3 months in detention and then transferred to another school. From then on, his reputation took a nosedive. People said he was dangerous. But after what happened, many started sympathizing with me. Camila, on the other hand, was met with growing indifference and distance. I started making new friends. Before Elias transferred, he came to see me once. He placed a camellia flower in front of me, along with the pen I had lent him at the very beginning. The boy hung his head low, his voice hoarse. Don't we have even one good memory? Can't you forgive me, just once? I shook my head. Elias gave a bitter smile. I looked up the meaning of camellias. How could you treat my love so lightly? Isn't that why you liked the flower? You're proud and resilient like a camellia. The moment I disrespected what you loved, you gave up on me. No, I corrected him. I liked camellias because they're also called beheading flowers. They reminded me of Louis XVI. I thought that was funny. Elias froze. His expression looked genuinely hurt. I told him honestly, yes, I used to like you. You were handsome and kind to me. I invested my time and feelings in you. That was my sunk cost. But moving forward, I don't want any ties with you. Even a dog knows to stop eating when it's been beaten. And I'm a human. I turned and walked away. Besides, if it was really a case of mistaken identity, couldn't Elias tell how different Camila and I are in personality? The truth is, he just didn't want to admit that the little fox who charmed him online turned out to be fat and plain in real life. I used to agonize over why I was so overweight. I longed for love and acceptance. I hoped people would see my good qualities, my heart. But facing Elias, I realized, even when I approached him sincerely, he was still driven by looks. Now I finally understand. I can't control people's first impressions of me. Human nature is wired to be drawn to beauty. So I've decided to embrace the way I look. I'm no longer ashamed of how others see me. Whether they want to get to know me or not, I will still shine in my own way. My beauty might be me working hard to lose weight, learning skincare and makeup. Or it might be me studying confidently, living with optimism, and embracing knowledge. Missing one competition won't change my fate. The past won't dictate my future. I joined the top-tier university prep program. Later, I was accepted early into a prestigious military tech university. From then on, I never saw or contacted Elias again. Extra chapter. Elias met Amelia again at an important conference. Amelia, now in her 40s, still had a slightly plump figure. What hadn't changed was her warm, smiling face, kind and gentle as ever. Elias had taken over the family business, manufacturing mechanical parts. That's how he got an invitation to this event, seated in the farthest corner of the room. Amelia, on the other hand, was standing confidently on stage. Beside her was a man in his 20s. He was tall, strong, dressed in a simple suit, his brows sharp and his eyes full of defiance. Elias couldn't help but see a reflection of his younger self in the man. The more he stared, the more familiar he looked. When Elias finally walked closer, he nearly jumped in shock. The man standing intimately by Amelia's side was his distant nephew by blood. Elias had heard the boy went off to some industrial university and disappeared afterward. Yet here he was, standing beside Amelia with such closeness. He leaned down to tie a camellia-patterned ribbon around her wrist. His bold eyes now carried a softness, full of affection. Elias was trembling. A few days after the banquet, Elias pulled some strings to meet with his nephew. His voice came out shrill and angry, twisted by jealousy. Why are you with her? She's 20 years older than you. So what? If I'm not with my teacher, what? You think you can be with her? His nephew replied with disdain, brushing off Elias's hand. Do you even know who my teacher is? She's the lead scientist behind our country's most advanced national defense weapon. Do you know how much foreign countries have offered to poach her? There were armed guards stationed outside for her today. My teacher is a woman of charisma and wisdom. His nephew spoke with a light, tipsy look in his eyes, gently drunk on love. Elias knew that look too well. He could feel his blood boiling. His nephew genuinely liked Amelia. I was chosen through an elite selection program to become her partner. And honestly, I should thank you, Uncle. She seems to have a soft spot for your type. Then, Elias faltered, his voice filled with fragile hope. Does she still think of me? Does she remember anything about us? Could I still stand beside her? His nephew gave him a strange look, then smirked with a mocking tone. Uncle, you've got crow's feet exploding from the corners of your eyes when you smile. Elias couldn't even remember how he managed to stumble out of his nephew's house. He went and bought all kinds of skincare products and supplements, even considered getting facial fillers. But none of it could fill the emptiness in his heart. He was sinking into appearance anxiety. If I weren't this old, would I have had a chance to be chosen too? Elias stared at himself in the mirror. He touched the corners of his eyes and felt the dampness on his fingertips. Judging by appearance leads only to loss.